guys? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hopefully you're doing absolutely awesome. You don't know, my name is Paul, very family friendly gaming. This is FFG Sports on Wrestlemania XL, or also known as 40. So I have little notes here I wrote down about each match. So Noah and I watched it. He really was interested in seeing it, and it was part of his graduation gift is to get a month of Peacock Plus to watch it. So Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Honestly, y'all know I've talked about this before. I'm not big on the women matches. The women seem to repeatedly mess things up way more than the men, unfortunately. They have way more botched moves, and it's kind of like midget wrestling. Every so often you want to see a little bit here or there, but not this much. You're just like, oh. So I honestly didn't care. They had the storyline, oh, Becky Lynch has strep throat and blah, blah, blah. And so Rhea won. And it was a yawn, honestly, the whole thing. I gave it one big, massive yawn. So then the next match was Judgment Day versus DIY versus New Day versus Awesome Truth versus A-Town. Down Under versus New Catch Republic. Now this was like a tag team ladder match where they had two sets of belts up at the top, and so the A-Town Down Under, they won the first belts, and then Awesome Truth won the second belts. Plenty of great spots here, plenty of lots of action with the ladders and the high flying and all of that. It was pretty good, and it was really cool to see the Miz and R-Truth get a win. And I liked how they split the belts. Judgment Day didn't really hurt them that much, in my opinion, losing, especially when there's so many different groups. Judgment Day almost got one of the belts when they had a third member come out and help them. Of course, there's no rules, so it's anything goes. So I liked that match. That was a pretty good match. Noah and I both thought that was pretty exciting, and it was lots of fun with it. So then was Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. And I feel like we just did the same thing as last year with Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic. But we just did tag teams. And the one thing I did not like about this match, and I've talked about this before, they did this, and I don't like how they do this. This is so annoying. They have two really huge luchadors come in, monster luchadors, come in, help them win. Of course, they come in from the crowd, so they hop over the barricade and they come in. This is what I don't like. Because when they sit there and tell you can't hop over the barricade, but then they consistently in these shows have wrestlers do it, I think you're sending the wrong message, personally. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that message. And of course, it was two of the Philadelphia Eagles, because we're in Philadelphia for the Wrestlemania, and it's just I get your playing to the crowd, I get it. And Rey Mysterio and Andrade winning, fine. Like I said, I was kind of in this match. It felt like the same thing as last year, to me anyway. And on top of that, doing the run in, the barricade jump over with a couple people that you're like, what is going on here? So I don't like that. I'll just say that. Next match was Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso, and of course Jey Uso won. They had a nice little storyline here with the two twin brothers fighting each other, and it's the third time brothers ever fought at WrestleMania type of deal. And Jay didn't attack Jimmy at one point, because he was apologizing, and of course, being the heel, that was just a mess with the head move, and he laughed about it. He wound up losing anyway, so it didn't matter. So I liked that one. I thought it was a good little match, especially after the last one, which was not the greatest. Then we have Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Damage Control. So 3-on-3 women, again, botching moves, and they're trying oh, Jade Cargill's so strong. Ooh. She did look like she was on roids. Honestly. There are very few women who can get themselves that muscular. And a lot of guys are like, no, thank you. Just typical 3-on-3 tag with women and lots of messed up, just lots of. In fact, even the announcer said something like, well, that's an interesting variation of that move. No, they screwed the move up. They botched it really badly. But hopefully no one got hurt when they're botching all these moves. And the thing is, the Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill are so much bigger and stronger than Damage Control. It just, you knew which way it was going. You knew that Damage Control was going to lose. It was just expected. The best part of this match was when the three faces came out and the heels were in front of the announce table and they were mocking the faces. That was the best part of the match. It went downhill from there, and I just couldn't wait for it to be done and over with. All right. So then, by the way, I picked Rhea Ripley. I did not pick anybody for the tag teams, although I did really want Awesome Truth to win, and they did get one. I picked Rey Mysterio. I picked Jey Uso. I picked the Bianca Belair. So I was getting out to this, but I'm getting like every match right. You know, like oh, this is who's going to win. This is who's going to win. And the next one, I really shocked Noah because I got this one right too. Okay, so it was Gunther with his 666 days of Intercontinental Champion straight reign versus Sami Zayn. Now, they start out with Sami Zayn seeing his wife and his young son, and then he sees some other guy. I don't know who he was. I guess he was training him. Sami Zayn's been doing this for like decades, so somehow he needs a trainer. Whatever. And then he sees KO right before going out, and I said, Sami Zayn's winning. And Noah was like, no, they're not going to have Gunther lose. Oh, yeah, Sami Zayn won. I was right. It was a very typical Sami Zayn match where, he's getting so dominated, he's getting so destroyed. And then all of a sudden it's like, he comes out of nowhere and gets a win. I mean, it's the Hulk Hogan thing, it's the Ric Flair thing, it's the John Cena thing. People, I find it funny when people complain about, John Cena has 5, moves of doom. Bret Hart did the same thing. The heel or the face comes out, he's just really strong at first. He gets beat down and beat down and beat down. He almost loses. He, kicks out. And then finally, he just gets this adrenaline surge. I mean, he doesn't have to, do the Hulk Hogan pump himself up thing. But it's the same thing. He just comes out of nowhere, hits a couple moves, and he wins. So it's like, I've seen this so much with wrestling. I was like, this is definitely where it's going. Like I said, I was right. Fully predicted it. All right, so the last match of night 1 was Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. If Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins won, they would get no bloodline interference. If they lost, if The Rock and Roman Reigns won, then it was bloodline rules, which meant any bloodline person can interfere, and there's, in essence, no rules. Might as well call it a street fight. Except pinfalls don't count anymore. They just count in the ring. So no countouts, no disqualifications, that kind of match. Noah was extremely unhappy with this, that The Rock and Roman Reigns won. Another one I predicted, and I'll tell you why. So, I know exactly why they did this. Here's why. You want the hero to look as strong as possible. How do you make the hero look as strong as possible? You make the hero look as strong as possible by having him go through the most difficult situation possible. Right? Like, that's what you need to do. So, this was blatantly obvious to me which direction they were going. The Rock using his, I'm on the board, I'll fire you, referee, if you count us out or interfere or anything. So, the heels were doing their thing to completely mess with the faces and make it nearly impossible for them to win. And yes, The Rock and Roman Reigns won. Expected, like I said. Now, let's get to night 2. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins was injured from the night before from that match, so Drew McIntyre was able to dispose of him. Not totally quickly. I mean, he tried a finisher move right at the beginning and didn't work, and then he had to work him over a little more before he finally got the win. Again, expected. They were talking about this, so when you hear the announcers talk a certain way, you're like, yeah, they're trying to give an excuse for why the face is going to lose. Like, it's obvious. So that was expected. Now, what was not expected and was hilarious, and that both Noah and I loved, was Drew McIntyre gets in the face of CM Punk, who was announcing after the match about his win and this and that, and Drew McIntyre had supposedly injured CM Punk and all this. CM Punk gets angry, takes off his brace for his arm, and starts beating Drew McIntyre in the head with it. Here comes Damian Priest to cash in Money in the Bank, hits him in the face with the briefcase, puts him in the ring, does his finisher, 1, 2, 3. Damian Priest is new heavyweight champion for that title. And I don't understand all these titles, but whatever. Damian Priest was a perfect cash in moment, in my opinion. It worked well. They told the story perfectly, so we liked that match a lot, even though it was kind of short. So the next match was Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament. We love Bobby Lashley, hate the Street Profits. Now Bobby Lashley got the win for the 3-man team, and quite honestly, it was a pretty dull match, a pretty, just one-sided. So we were just kind of like, eh. Yeah, that was kind of a meh match at best. But Bobby Lashley brought it from terrible to meh, I guess I'll say. Next one, LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Again, I'm like, LA Knight's getting this. His was just doing good. And I had read he's been over. I haven't watched wrestling in a year, so I read he was over with the fans. And so he gets the win. Makes perfect sense. And it was a decent little match. Next man, 3, a triple threat. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Starts out, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens team up on Logan Paul and just beat him down. Then they realize that only one of them can pin him, so then they start fighting each other, and then we get into a real triple threat all 3 ways. I did not pick this one right because they had this whole thing with Sami Zayn seeing KO, and I thought, well, KO's going to win. I was wrong. This is like the only one I was wrong on. Logan Paul won, and I was like, well, okay. Then we had Io Sky versus Bayley for some women's championship, and again, more botched moves. Bayley wins as expected. She had been part of Damage Control, so this is her revenge going up against one of her previous members. Kind of surprised Rest Damage Control did not interfere in any way, shape, or form, but they made it like, oh, and the thing is, Bayley is so much bigger than Io, and it's kind of like, what? They try and make it like, oh, Io's being so dominant, and it didn't feel right when she's so much smaller, in my opinion. But Bayley won, and we were like, oh, please hurry up and move on. All right, then the final match, the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the title. Cody Rhodes trying to finish his story. So Bloodline rules. We have Jimmy Uso run in and screw over Cody Rhodes, but then Jey Uso comes in and takes him out off the ramp and through a table. Solo Sikoa, he comes out, he attacks Cody again, and then John Cena comes out, he takes out Solo Sikoa, he also takes out Roman Reigns. Then The Rock comes out, and The Rock is not happy, and he takes out John Cena. Seth Rollins comes out, and Roman Reigns takes out Seth Rollins. And then we get the gong, and The Undertaker shows up. He takes out The Rock. Cody Rhodes is able to finish off Roman Reigns. Roman had a chair, and he was picking between Cody and Seth, and he decided to go after Seth. He takes out Seth. He tries to do a finisher on Cody. Doesn't work. Cody does his move 3 times. And Cody's new champion. They have lots of celebrations. Yay. Cody's... Okay, as expected. Again, the hero had to look really strong. He had to go through all this adversity to get to the title, even during that match. So this is something that WWE does. So I expected it. Overall, though, the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match was excellent. I expected either John Cena or Brock Lesnar, one of the two, to show up, and John Cena showed up. Did not expect the Undertaker. That was a nice surprise. So the Undertaker coming out and taking out The Rock was perfect, and that was a great way to say other people came down and helped him out when the Bloodline rules were going to mess him over. So all in all, that was a really good match. We really enjoyed that. Instant classic, in my opinion. So that's all my thoughts on WrestleMania 40. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.